Hello everyone, how are you doing? Oh, hang on, I'll just move my mic a bit closer. There we go. How's that? Everyone alright? The Miffed Matlaw. Am I right in thinking you are a Scouser like me? Amazingly, we've got Scousers on this channel. I know you are. You wouldn't be remiss in assuming that everybody that inhabits the degenerate English city of Liverpool is a bona fide commie. However, there are some sensible ones. What do we think it is, really? How many Conservatives do you get in Liverpool? I'm going to keep using the term Conservatives. However, I am fully aware that there's nothing conservative about the current Conservative Party. But what do we think it is in Liverpool, really? About 25%? Like, it's probably one of the worst cities in Britain. Whoa, off to a good start. See, there's over 100 in already, so unfortunately, I'm not doing any Oxbridge pleasantries. And however, I appreciate the. I was going to say custom, but I don't fucking sell anything. Thanks for coming anyway. Even if you, in fact, no, especially if you're from Liverpool. There are some sensible ones. That's why I'm looking to move out. I just finished listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Michael Malice. Michael Malice is another one. Like, I don't see why he's as popular as he is. He annoys me, Michael Malice. He constantly interrupts people that he has on, which, again, maybe I'd do that, but we can smell our own, right? I'd probably be annoying if I was trying to be a podcast host because I'd talk over the people that that I'm supposed to be questioning. But it doesn't make for the best podcast host, does it? That's why I don't host a podcast. I just talk. But yeah, Michael Malice annoys me. He constantly interrupts the people he's asking questions. Like, you go, oh yeah, that's interesting. I want to hear the answer. And then Michael Malice goes, fuck it, and just goes on to one. So yeah, he's all right. I'll listen to him occasionally. But it was interesting listening to the amount of people that are leaving other American states, the places you would expect them to be leaving, like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles. They're all fucking moving, obviously. And Michael Malice said an interesting thing. He said, it's weird how we all sort of buy into the lie. Like, well, it's almost like a suicide pact. Like, we know what causes these issues, but we just steadfastly refuse to accept the fact that we can fix it. And we just keep doing the same thing that we know is fucking everything up. And I find that really, really bizarre. We know what causes these problems. We know you could fix it in a week. If we had the will, we could fix it in a week. We know what causes it. We know if you incentivize homeless people to come to your state by telling them, oh, we'll give you a house, we'll feed you, we'll look after you, we'll clothe you, we'll give you all your medicine for nought. You know you're going to incentivize them to move there. And I don't understand how they can't see it. Like, if I was a tramp living in Nevada or Texas, and that shit for brains Gavin Newsom's going on the TV and saying, oh, everyone should, housing is a human right. Housing is a human... I mean, seriously, is there anything thicker that you've ever heard than housing is a human right? Housing is a human right. As if houses make themselves. Isn't it? Housing is a human right. No, oxygen is a human right because it came with the planet, right? If it's a natural product, it's a human right. I've always been big on the right to roam in England, right? Nobody owns a fucking bit of grass that's been there for 8 million years. That's a human right. The freedom to breathe free air is a human right because God gave you it if you're religious. Plenty of universal accidents created, whatever you want to say. But if somebody had to create an item with their own two hands, and in the case of a house, multiple people, how can you say it's a human right? It's so fucking stupid. Again, I'm certain I would have known this when I was 12. You don't have to read. The Wealth of Nations and read The Economist and study up on all this stuff for decades. You just have to be a teenager with a fully functioning brain. Like, if someone said to me, housing is a human right when I was 12, I'd be like, so who builds it then? Who builds it? If you just say everyone deserves a house without putting any effort in on their part, you're basically suggesting that houses build themselves. Someone has to make the fucking things. And if you just start saying, everybody gets one, you want one, yeah, here you go, house. You want one, house. You're then going to have to go, build the house, bastard, to a team of builders, aren't you? Which is, I don't want to get overly, get into political science. I don't want to pretend I'm highbrow when I'm not. But it's so obvious. If you can't keep what you created with your own two hands, you have no motivation to create. If I knew for a fact, actually, I can segue and do a bit of shilling some art. I drew something new today. You want to see it? It's for a quar. I wrote a quar answer that was very popular, where people were asking me about stolen valor. And I said to them, the easiest way to fucking... Everyone's given all these long, complex reasons for how you can tell when someone's lying about the military service. And I was like, all you have to do, right, is, because they're motivated by bravado, all you have to do is come up with the most manly regiment ever. But instead of saying like the SAS or the SBS or the Navy SEALs or Delta or whatever you want, what you do is you talk about a manly regiment and how stoic and tough they all are, but then you make sure that you invent a fictional regiment. And the valor stealer will be so, because they have an almost irrational desire to be seen as being a tough guy, no matter what the regiment is you've just created, they'll pretend they've either heard of it or they're in it. So I said, so all you do is say, oh yeah, a friend of mine was in Kung Fu Bazooka Dinosaur Platoon. And they'll go, yeah, I was in that. Yeah, that was mine. And someone said, this is such a good idea, you should put it on a t-shirt. So I drew a quick design. I don't know if you can see it, I'll have to put it up later. What about that? There you go. That's Kung Fu Bazooka Dinosaur Regiment t-shirt. So I'll have that finished soon enough. And yeah. I mean, I'm not even going to attempt to shill it because when I sell a t-shirt on fucking Redbubble, obviously me being a little guy, I get about, I think you get 10%, which is absolutely shite. Like if you sell a t-shirt for 25 quid, you get like £2 or something. So it's, yeah. I'm not even going to attempt to flog it, but I'm going to include it on my website that I'm attempting to finish. I've nearly done it. Anyway, back to the question at hand. Yeah, if I was an artist and I was drawing for a living, and every time I finished one and went, hey, what do you think of that? Some fucking communist turned up with a pump action shotgun and took it off me and said, oh, this is going to the public. The public get this for free because we think the public should be able to enjoy art, and they just take it off me. Guess how many drawings I produce in a year after that? None. 0. I ain't doing it. Out of pure stubbornness. I might even want to do it, but I ain't fucking doing it. So, how much did you get for a t-shirt or a travel mug? Yeah, seriously, you get fuck all. Get about, I think, yeah, if you make 20, if they sell 25 quid's worth of product, you get about £2.13 or something. It's fucking not even, yeah, it's not worth a wank. Anyway, so it's bollocks, right? Housing's a human right. No, it fucking isn't, because someone has to build the bastard. The plumber, the bricklayer, the scaffolder, the joiner, the carpet fitter. You know how much effort goes into making a house? You can't just give them to people. Or else where do you generate the wealth to pay the people that do all the work? Right? It's so fucking obvious. An 8-year-old can see it. So you do it with extreme violence. Again, which is what they always do, which is what it always ends up in. again, it's so obvious, isn't it? People get bogged down in the political theory. It's so obvious because it's human nature. And they talk about equality all the time. Equality, equality, equity, equity, fucking equity. You can't have equity because you don't get equality of effort. I'm not putting in as much effort as some guy who's working on Wall Street doing 60 hours a week. Since I moved back to the States, I still haven't got a full-time job. There's movement on that, unfortunately. So these daily streams may become a thing of the past very soon. But, I don't deserve to be making as much money as a banker who's working 60, 70 hours a week when I'm working fucking 10. It's so obvious. So how do you expect ever to get equality when every human's different and people that are stronger, faster, smarter and harder working of course they're gonna make more money than you. I don't even understand what people fucking expect to happen. The angry eBay. Fucking, you know why I won't go on eBay? If I have something that's worth a bit of money, I'd rather give it away or throw it in a skip because I don't want to give some fucking Phoebe all my money or PayPal. Bar bouncers, what you should do. Sad Wings, I'm only 5'9", mate. I'm physically fit and I'm definitely punching above my weight for my size, but if I'm going to be going up against 6'9" black fellas from Alabama, right? If Deontay Wilder comes into my bar and starts causing bother, I'm going to have a fucking hard time taking him down, thumb in the eyeball or not. So yeah, bouncer, I'm not big enough to be a bouncer. I'm a big believer in, you can train a man to be quite dangerous if he has to be, right? That's what we do. We do a bit of unarmed combat and marine training, but a good big man always beats a good small man. I'm a big believer in that. And people who think size doesn't matter, well, you're in the same realm as people who think physicality doesn't matter in sports, and that's why burly, truck-driving, 10-inch clitoris women are allowed to fucking compete in the powerlifting against skinny 19-year-old teenage girls. It's not a good career for me, I don't think. Anyway, I don't have delusions of grandeur just because I'm a bootneck. I'm merely quite hard. I'm not a fucking giant of a man. They take 12.8% and there's no PayPal fees. All right, that's not bad. I didn't know that. So where the fuck do PayPal get all the money from? They must be robbing someone. Right. Rant over. Housing is not a human right. That's what I want to talk about there. Fucking common sense. You don't need to be a fucking mathematical wizard or an economist. It's one of the daftest things I've ever heard. So they're basically motivating people to go to San Francisco and Los Angeles and New York. It's going to be a total festering shit pit in a couple of years' time. It's in terminal decline. We know what to do to fix it, and nobody's willing to do it. My mum always said the bigger they are, the harder they fall, but they fall on me. Yeah, the bigger they are, the harder they fucking punch you. My old fella always said, if you're looking at having a bar fight with a load of blokes, the first thing you do is grab a chair and wrap it around the head of the biggest bloke there. He said, so in his world, the biggest, strongest, tallest, scariest looking fucker is always the one who gets lamped first. So you wrap a chair around his head, and then if he's still standing, then you fucking run. Size matters. Size matters, doesn't it? Tyson Fury's proved that. He's fucking 6'9". And even Mike Tyson, everyone was always only small. No, he's not fucking small. He looks small against some of the people he's going up against, but he's still not small. Like basketball players, right? People say, oh yeah, basketball. It's not all about physicality. I mean, some of them aren't that big. John Stockton wasn't that tall. I had an argument in a bar about that with a bloke saying, I was saying football's better than basketball because you can have Maradonas and Janinios and you can still be a legend even if you're not blessed with height and size. And I said, and there's very few sports where you can. That's why football's the best, because it's like an equaliser. It's all about skill. And this guy was like, no, that's bollocks. Like, there's some small basketball players. And I was like, fucking who? Name one. And he said, John Stockton. And then I Googled it, and the guy's like 6'2". Like he's a fucking big cunt. Just because he's not 7'5" like some of them are, you might think he's quite small on TV. And that's Mike Tyson. The bloke's not small. He's probably about fucking 5'11" and built like a brick shithouse. Anyway, stop talking about scrapping. So, today's news, I did want to cover, there was this story on the BBC, right? Obviously, it's the BBC Spews. Rachel Levine, transgender official sworn in as 4-star admiral. And instead of just reading you the BBC story, I obviously want to show you this Babble on B article because it fucking made me piss myself laughing. It's obviously that's the real one. Babble on B put the arms race heats up. Just as China reveals space nukes, America responds with a trans admiral. Like, oh, it's kicking off now, boys. Yeah, so it says the arms race is heating up between the US and China. Just last week, China revealed its brand new space nukes, which are capable of easily nuking any country on the planet. The United States responded swiftly to the provocation by unveiling the world's first trans admiral. China, you've been warned, said Biden to a Chinese food delivery person he mistook for President Xi. I like the way they even put delivery person instead of delivery man. Like they know the tone is perfect on the Babble on B. They know exactly what they're doing. Our transgender admiral is fully armed and operational. If you cross us, we will unleash the full fire and fury of this deadly weapon upon you. Make no mistake. Military experts say that while a space nuke is somewhat impressive, it pales in comparison to the awesome power of diversity. I seen you post on Twitter I got banned. Oh, did you? Welcome to my fucking world. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, isn't it, getting banned on Twitter? It says, with Rachel Levine serving as admiral, nations around the world will bow before the terrifying might of our transgender empowerment, said General Miley. Thoroughly modern Miley. What an absolute chopper he is. We must pursue peace through strength of inclusivity. It's fucking brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant. The Taliban are terrified of strength through inclusivity. No, they're not. They're scared of A-10s. When I was out there, they were terrified of A-10s. When you get one strafing a few compounds and they all start looking at excuses to not shoot at it. They're not scared of inclusivity. I don't think a big hairy admiral with a cracking set of threepenny bits is going to scare anyone. It said Biden insisted there is no weapon yet conceived that can top Admiral Levine and he will gladly accept China's preemptive surrender. Admiral Levine was not available for comment as she was getting her prostate examined. So yeah, quality. Hats off to the Babble on B. I check them out every couple of days. They're fucking funny. But yeah, there you go. And this is news why. Like, again, to old-fashioned liberals, people like me, or how they used to be 10 years ago when the world was sane, this wouldn't even be a story because you wouldn't care that much. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care what your sexuality is. Like I've said many times, I don't care. When I meet someone in a bar, I'll rub along with anyone. I'll sit alongside you and I'll try to be your mate and probably we'll get on because I'm fucking easygoing. I don't want you to say to me, oh, by the way, I used to be a bloke, or I used to be a bird, or I'm bisexual, or I'm trans, or occasionally on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays I suck blokes off, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm massively into tits. I don't care. It's got nothing to do with anything. It's not interesting. I've told many people this. I don't really like small talk. I don't like sitting in a bar and people doing, you know, like when you meet someone for the first time, they always come up with like, the questions are almost by rote. You know, when you go to a party, especially in America, they're obsessed with what you do. Like, because a lot of Americans work a lot harder than those fucking lazy Europeans. Like I've always said, right, geographically and culturally, Britain is the middleman. Not just geographically, but definitely culturally. Americans work too hard. The Brits are probably about there. And the Continentals are too fucking lazy. Don't do any work. France, as a country, does less work than the ship's cat. The Spaniards, it's like go to work for 3 hours, then go to fucking sleep for 5 in the middle of the day. It doesn't make any sense. So, culturally, that's where we're at. We're sort of in the middle of them all. And it's a weird thing. I've completely forgot the fucking point I was going to make now. Ah, well, that's what happens when you go off on a tangent a lot. Yeah, it's gone. Ah, well. Maybe my brain's not fully hydrated. Hang on. Yeah. So I've completely forgot what happened there. I went off on a tangent. But, oh yeah, point was, I don't like small talk. So if I'm sitting there and you start saying things like, you know, like again, by rote, what do you do for a living? What music do you like? How's the weather in England today? It's shit. I want you to talk to me about interesting things. I like to discuss. The whole reason I like politics is because so many things are hard, with hard answers. Abortion, euthanasia, gun control, the line between hate speech or incitement and free speech. Things like that are all interesting to me because it's hard to arrive at a nailed on, very easy. I mean, some of you right-wing fuckers in the chat will be like, no, it's not, it's fucking easy. I don't agree. And I think those are the questions that are interesting. Things like abortion and euthanasia are good things to talk about because it's a really complex, nuanced conversation. Small talk shit. And telling me what your gender is or what you like shagging is the worst dull small talk. That's the whole reason I love politics. I love being asked questions that are hard to answer. I've told you guys, I even like arguing, playing devil's advocate. I like to try and say, here's why Bernie Sanders is a good idea to Trump voters, or here's why Trump's a good idea to Bernie Sanders supporters. I like to always try to play the opposite side of the fence because that's an intellectual exercise. Small talk is fucking boring. People message me sometimes. I like people to message me complex, nuanced discussions. I don't like people to message me, how's your day going? What type of dog do you like the best? I don't give a fuck. I want taboo things. Yes, Kate. Taboo things, difficult things, hard things. I don't care about the weather or your sexuality. I mean, where am I going to go with that? If I meet you in a bar and you say, I'm like, all right, mate, how are you doing? He's like, all right, sound. He's like, oh, I'm into cock, by the way. Well, where do I go from that? Where do we go from there? What do you want me to say? Oh, yeah, nice one. I'm into tits. Are we done? Are we done with the small talk now? Let's talk about planets. Like I said, space is a good conversation. I love talking about space. I love talking about the oceans. There's loads of good shit to talk about in the oceans. History's always good. Philosophy, science, biology. I don't fucking care about small talk. I don't want to know what you're into. Sexually. And it's so weird how they're going about it all the fucking time because, like, you don't spend that much time shagging, do you? I've said that before, unless I'm doing it wrong. You don't fucking spend that much time shagging. 99% of your life, you're not shagging anything. It's like half an hour twice a week. Unless you're French. In France, it might be a thing, yeah, because they're on the nest 3 hours a day with 8 different partners. Yeah, okay, if you're French, bring it up quite a lot. It's interesting. But if you're normal, you don't have a Chinese burn running the full length of your cock. If you're normal, it's about 45 minutes a week you do that. The rest of the time you're doing other things. So it's not interesting. It's not even that big of a deal. It's just a thing. So I don't care. And it's really weird, like Douglas Murray says. It's the difference between an activist and a normal person who happens to be gay. An activist's like, I'm into tits. If they're a woman, obviously. I'm trans, bi, demi, fucking whatever. It's like, it's boring as fuck. Normal people don't talk like that. Douglas Murray's a gay man. He doesn't talk about it all the time. Which sailor would you most like to fucking Roger? Have you ever heard him come out with shit like that? Ooh, Daniel Craig's so fucking handsome. You can't imagine him bringing it up, can you? because he's got interesting things to talk about. Let's talk about the Camp of the Saints. That was an interesting piece of literature. That's a good conversation. Name your top 5 hot men is not an interesting conversation. So fuck off. So this bullshit story, when the world was sane and we didn't just love identity politics because it's quasi-communist fucking rhetoric, this wouldn't have even been a story. There's plenty of fucking admirals. Who cares if the admiral's trans? It's totally irrelevant. If Rachel Levine is competent at being an admiral, right? So I'd assume that involves like, you know, a real grasp of logistics, a real grasp of tactics and doctrine, geopolitics, all the big things you need. If Dr. Rachel Levine's good at all that shit, that's all we need to know. And we don't even need to know about any of it because we don't have a say in the matter. High-ranking officers are appointed. And there's a process. And all the people involved in that process should make a decision based off who's the best person for the job. But again, the world's gone mad. So you know for a fact that Rachel Levine hasn't been picked because she's the best person for the job. It's a box-ticking exercise. Probably if there was 3 candidates, but 2 of them were just dull, old-fashioned men, Rachel Levine might have been the thickest of the 3. In fact, in this day and age, I'm assuming she fucking is. Because it's a box-ticking exercise. We know that, don't we? We know they give the worst people for the job if they tick the right boxes. I've talked about it before. That's how you get Fiona Olasanwi, or as she was called, Claudia, these fucking morons in the Labour Party. Labour actually put forward, they said we're going to have an all-black, all-female shortlist in a country where 2% of the population are black women. So they've literally had to go around going, right, it doesn't matter how clever you are, how well organised you are, how fast you are, how hard-working you are. All that matters is that you're a black female. And if you live somewhere up north, there's fucking probably hardly any. Probably about 12 in the whole town. What if all 12 of them are lazy and thick as fuck? What if there isn't a really, really clever, hard-working black woman in this dull, northern, 99% white town? You're fucked then, aren't you? You literally have to pick people who you know for a fact are going to be shit at the job you're doing. And you know that's what Biden's done here. He's gone, oh, we have to keep placating the far left. We have to keep placating them. Quick, find me someone trans we can give a job to. You know for a fact that's what happened. I guarantee Rachel Levine was not the best person for the job there. There's no way. Because what percentage of the Navy are trans? I mean, I'd love to fucking know. There's probably about 3 in the whole Navy, and one of them's just been made admiral. And you think it's based off competency and skill? Really? What have China and Russia said about the new admiral? I'd love to know. I'd love to fucking know. It's madness. Like I said, we're in terminal decline. When you pick people who you know are not the best person for a job, you're in terminal decline. You're in serious fucking trouble. And that's where we're at now. Oh yeah, rotten politics is big on Scottish groom grabs. Yeah, that is. They've been hiding it in Scotland for years. If a story is against, again, it doesn't matter if it involves dead women and kids, anything. If a story goes against the social justice hierarchy, they don't tell you about it. So it's like I said, we're in terminal decline. But Britain is more fucked than America. I'll repeat it. We're in the shit now because Biden and all of his commie chums are in. I mean, and they are despicable. They do everything from the book. If you've read the Gulag Archipelago, all of those statements about the hierarchy in these communist fucking regimes, they're doing it all now, all Biden's lot. Like hypocrisy, corruption, rules for thee but not for me. They're doing all of that. That Rashida Tlaib was caught on a hot mic. If you don't know who she is, ladies and gents, she's one of the squad. Right, the really, really out and proud communists in the Democrat Party in the United States. Again, there's a lot of moderate Democrats, the ones who are like been in politics 30 fucking years and are sitting here going, this is weird, when did we all turn into lunatics? but the squad are like the out and proud commies. And Rashida Tlaib was caught on a hot mic saying, "Oh yeah, I'm just wearing the mask because there's Republicans watching." They're telling everybody else, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. All these pressures on your liberty, and they don't do it themselves. Biden walking around in restaurants without a mask on, telling everybody else you have to wear them. Gavin Newsom, everyone has to wear the mask. All the wineries are closed, but I don't have to wear a mask, and my winery is allowed to stay open. Like it's basically all coming out the playbook. Nepotism, cronyism, corruption, arrogance, authoritarianism, it's all taking place. They are massively taking the piss out of all of us. But like I said, at least in America, we do have an alternative. People who formerly I never had any time for, because they are fucking proper conservatives, religious ones, in the case of people like Ted Cruz. I've never had any time for those people because I felt like they went too far. But as I've said many times, if you're going to force me to pick a side between the somewhat authoritarian religious right and the out and proud authoritarian communists, then I'm going to pick the religious right. Because I know what I get with them. I know what I'm getting with them. The commies, you don't know where they're going. You don't know whether we're going to end up seriously, like in, maybe that's self-interest. There's a few things that don't bother me so much because I'm a bloke. Religious right are more concerning to women. But if you're going to force me to pick between arseholes like Ted Cruz and full-blown commies, well, we know where I'm going to go. And we know where 90% of people are going to go. I refuse to believe that 50% of people who've always thought themselves Democrats will not vote for the current lot in the midterms. I think the Democrats are going to get twatted in the midterms because there's no fucking way you get a career lefty, a lifelong lefty like that Barry Weiss, a fucking militant feminist. You do not get a woman like that to vote for the current Democrats who are obsessed with transgender admirals, obsessed with pushing cock-wielding oppressors into the women's fucking rugby team, right? I mean, this is their words, obviously not mine. Cock-wielding oppressors. How do you get militant feminists to support the current Democrat Party? How do you do it? It's fucking impossible. Yeah, the G7 this year, John. Yeah, it's exactly right. Where they're all just there getting pissed, drinking 200 quid bottles of champagne. No masks. Fucking party time. Boris is slobbering all over everyone. They couldn't give a monkey's fart. But they're all there fucking gobbing off when the cameras are on. It's absolute bollocks. So yeah, shocking. Just outrageous. Kate, hit the liking button. I like how Kate and everybody else pesters people that press the like button. I appreciate it. I'm not going to make a video like a pre-recorded one for a couple of days because I thought my last one about lying before Congress was good and it was funny and nobody's watched it. It's had about 1,000, so fuck them. YouTube have shit all over it. I'm going to leave it up for a couple of days. It was surprisingly prophetic because today Trump came out and said, how is it that you've got, in fact, shall I quickly look for the statement before I call it a day? Trump made a statement today about the lies in Congress. And it was basically what I said in the video I made. Oh my God. Have you seen what you get if you Google? Google's shocking, isn't it? I typed in Trump's statement today, lies, to try and find his statement that I read earlier. And all you get is NPR, Trump continues to lie. ABC News, Trump renews threats to GOP. PolitiFact, latest false fact checks on Donald Trump. Trump says he has a mouth that tells the truth while lying. It's like Google's shocking as well, isn't it? It's like total bollocks. So I don't know where that statement is. I think it was on Twitter. But basically, it was what I was saying in the fucking video I made. Trump pointed out that, like I made out in the video, that you can lie as much as you want in Congress. Nobody cares. All Congress does is fucking lie. Just endless lies. But when they decide that it's politically expedient, then they'll fucking have you. So we know his statement was true because he talked about those. The FBI lovers who were caught on all the texts got read out in court, and they were caught blatantly lying. Like all they do is lie, and we know for a fact they're on video, flapping their lips. Clinton lied. Hillary, obviously, we know fucking about Bill. Those two, Peter Strzok and his missus, lied. Openly lied. James Comey lied. Clapper lied. Brennan lied. Lies, constantly. Anthony Fauci blatantly fucking lied. We know from the email leak that he got up there and said, Senator Paul, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. And in private, he was emailing his mates going, holy shit, we've caused a pandemic. Fuck. Like, that all happened. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. They've found the emails. They've leaked them all. They've seen them. Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Anthony Fauci, Clinton, Biden, fucking all of them. Just endless streams of fucking lies. And nothing said, nothing done about it. And then all of a sudden, Bezos pisses him off, or some fucking Republican senator, and they go, oh, whoa, someone lied to Congress, we can't be having that. That's all that happens in Congress. It's all that's happened in Congress for about 40 years. People just lie, constantly, every day. Lie. But all of a sudden, oh yeah, we can't have you telling lies to Congress. That's all you fuckers do. So, just absolute bollocks. From start to finish. And apparently that's a big deal. Google's fucking shocking. Anyway, I was going to cover this, but we haven't got time because it's fucking nearly 40 minutes. Extra COVID restrictions not needed at this point. Sajid Javid says, oh, okay, at this point. That's a very, no, they have no shame at all, Stuart. That's a very loaded statement, isn't it? Sajid Javid, he couldn't just leave it as extra COVID restrictions not needed. No, he couldn't do that. It's not needed at this point, so we know what's coming. Again, England's worse than America. So you lads, you're in the fucking shit. Like I said, at least here, there is constant pressure being applied by an actual alternative. The Conservatives in America have a different worldview to the Democrats. In Britain, the Conservatives are the left-wing authoritarians, and the alternative is worse. The SNP. For the SNP, by the way, to still be viable after what's gone on in the last couple of years is disgraceful. Like, their rhetoric is outright bigotry and hatred. You think Angela Rayner and fucking Corbyn's bad? The SNP are shocking. They are like, kill the Conservatives, burn them all. Like, they come out with shit like that, the SNP. They're fucking mental. And then you've just had a bloke stabbed to death and the SNP are like, oh, this is sad. You lying bastards. Why do you talk like that if you're going to just contradict yourself a second there's an incident? We know you despise them. We know you want them to die. Your rhetoric is hateful. It is hate. It is pure, unadulterated hate from the SNP and the Labour Party. And now they're going, oh yeah, how sad. I mean, seriously, I don't know what to say about that. They've just got no fucking integrity at all. But, yeah. Batten down the hatches, boys and girls. It's only going to get worse in England. It's only going to get worse. There is no alternative. There's no disagreement. You need a strong opposition. And at least in America, as fucked as we are, we do have an opposition that's got the bit between the teeth. People are pissed off. All the rants and the chants at this football events, the general public are seriously pissed off. And they're going to reach for the alternative at the midterms. In Britain, you're fucked. There is no alternative. Oh, look, Shams is in. All right. Well, I'm done now, so fuck you. You're too late. So, yeah. Sorry to tell you all, be the bearer of bad news, but I am fucking black-pilled when it comes to the UK. You need a strong opposition, and you don't have one. You don't have one. We've got one in America, so we're in the shit, but at least we've got an opposition. In the United Kingdom, tough titty. You've got fucked, 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 and fucked. That's your options. The 4 stages of fucked. Right? You're in the shit. Okay, I'm off. I will finish this very soon, and I'll put it on my website. I'm going to try and finish today. So watch this space. I'll put it in the community bit on YouTube. In the meantime, go check out Rotten Politics' website, because it's good. And he's a good lad, but you already know that. And I'll see you all tomorrow about the same time. All right? Thanks for watching. See you all very soon.